games, and we submit a list. You expect 1 or 2 to get picked, and we had 9 picked total between the Senior Bowl and the East-West game, and it is a good advantage for us because we get we get a lot of good information on the players that are here, that they coach, and it's a good experience for our staff and good for our personnel department.
And what do you just?
Coincidence that they all ended on the same team, or was that kind of the request?
No, I mean that's part of the deal. Especially when Joel Thomas gets named head coach of one of those, he's going to want to have some people with him that are familiar with what he wants to do. So
What do you think led to the success last year with last year's class, and how much better do you think it'll be just having all the coaches here start to finish and everybody be able to have the input from now all the way through the draft process?
Well, look, that's a credit to to Jeff Ireland and our college scouting staff, all of our personnel department. Look, it's not our first rodeo. We've had plenty of good drafts over the years, and hopefully this last year was a good one. It was a good first year, but let's wait a few more years before we judge that.
Mickey, how much can a guy move his needle here, or how much did Tyler move his?
Yeah, I think I don't know how how you want to measure that. It's most of the work that gets done after the season is usually an affirmation, a confirmation of what you believe already, and so that's just part of the process.
You talked about how much of an advantage it is to have guys on the staff here.
Yeah.
Were there any kind of specifics that you've noticed in the past, like advantage-wise? Is it just based on the extra time they get to spend with them, information they report to you? Like how does that?
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly. After the week, our coaches will come in and we'll talk to them about every player that they coached or they crossed paths with here, and at the East-West. We had some coaches at the East-West game as well, and that'll just go as part of the evaluation.
Some of the guys here at the Senior Bowl, do they fit kind of the prototype of what you're finding? Just over the last 2 years, it seems like you guys have been, the guys that have been able to contribute right away have played in this game, have done this week. Does it say something about the guys that are participating in that kind of fit what you guys are looking for?
Yeah, I don't know that. We'd have to get a lot more specific as to each individual player, but look, number one, the players that are here are good players. They're almost all going to get drafted. They're a lot of these guys, most of them are going to be at the combine, so it's just part of the process.
How do you guys plan on handling the unique circumstance of Doug being on staff and Garrett being in the draft? When discussing Garrett specifically.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But look, Garrett's a really good player and thought of really well, and obviously we think a lot of Doug. So that'll be interesting. I don't think we've ever had that circumstance before in my 40 years in the league. I don't recall where we've ever had a coach with a player in the draft. Maybe we have, but I can't remember it.
Are there ever evolutions with the league that change how you guys view positional value? Does some ever go up and go down just based on?
Yeah, I don't think you would say it was dramatic, but I think there are little nuances and trends that go over the years that influence you. But for the most part, it's still the same.
I know you guys took the time to evaluate the players and whatnot, and the 10-day break and whatever. What kind of positional needs are you hoping to address? On a higher.
We haven't finished that process yet. And actually, all the coaches being here have kind of delayed that process for us by a week or so. So I can't really answer that. Not that I would anyway.
Have you ruled out staffing changes at this point, or how are you in that process?
Yeah, I think that remains to be seen, but unlikely, I think.
Have you all decided yet what your plan is with the fifth-year option for Brian McGee?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We haven't. Again, we just. We're early in the process here, and timing's a little different this year because of the number of people we have in this game. But we'll get to that soon.
any early impressions on this year's class of players?
Yeah,
in
look,
the draft?
I think that there's a really talented group here, just like last year. I think the last couple of years in particular, it feels like, I don't know this for a fact, but it feels like we're getting a lot more really good players, and that's a good thing. Just it's more information for us, and we get to do interviews and get to talk to these guys, and it's been a really good thing.
You mentioned during your end of year presser about the depth of this draft class. How has this been so far?
Feels like it. It feels like that's a confirmation of that so far. So, but again, we're so early in this process that it's hard to make any definitive statements about anything really.
Demario went on Kay Adams the other day and kind of indicated that he's maybe open to testing the free agency. Where do things stand with him, and do you anticipate that happening?
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I heard it. Yeah, look, we love Demario. Want him to be back and hope he's back, but yeah, we'll get through that.
I think we didn't ask you this at the end of the year press conference, but how was Taysom doing in regards to that injury he had at the end of the season? Was that determined to be serious?
Yeah, I don't think so. Haven't got another report on it, but it didn't feel like it was a real significant.
Has he communicated plans?
I've given him some space, so we'll touch base with him soon. But it's hard to have these conversations right after the end of the season. You want that emotion to go out of it. Give guys some time and space, and not feel like they're pressured to make decisions. And we've got time, so.
With he had this idea of surrounding Chuck with explosive weapons or juice. I know that's probably the goal every year, but what do you think specifically about kind of that idea that you guys might need more juice?
Yeah, I just I think, look, we got a young quarterback, and you want to have a good defense. You want to have great protection up front, and you want to give him playmakers to get the ball to. You want to do that for any quarterback. So. Yeah, I don't think that's. Yes, that's the goal. Absolutely, it's the goal. But it's a goal for every team with every quarterback.
And then circling back to Doug and Garrett, is that something where you would ask him to leave the room?
No. It's not like that. Yeah. It's look, we want to help the Nussmeier family.
Right.
Period. So, but again, it's unique. It's going to be a little different than we've had to deal with before.
You did a team recently in that situation, right?
Dallas.
Was it Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah, with
They ended up drafting him.
Deuce Vaughn, yeah, and Chris Vaughn, yeah. And that was really cool seeing in Dallas when that happened, when they took him. Anything else?
I think that's good, Mickey. Thank you.